everyone. I hope this is live. Yes. Okay. Okay, good. Good. Hi. Sorry, there's a little bit of a delay there. I scheduled the stream for once. And I don't do that very often because usually I schedule it on my computer, right? And I have a lot of tabs up on my computer for it. But I have to actually record on my iPad. So that can get kind of wonky. So sorry about that. But here we are. It's working. Here we go. I'm going to wait a little longer to see if more people want to stop by before I really get started. Yeah. I guess I'll talk about what I'll be talking about. No, actually first, just how are you guys? How are you guys doing? Hope everyone's doing well. Hope you're having a nice Sunday evening. At least, depending on where you are, maybe it's a different date and maybe it's different time. But either way, I hope you're all doing well. Lore stream, yes. People have been asking for a while, and honestly, it took me a little bit to prepare, but I think I am ready. I think I am ready to do this. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it'll all go well. Yeah. You're good? I'm glad to hear that. Hope everyone's doing well. I start school on Tuesday, so yay for that. Yeah, this doesn't really relate to the stream, but because I'm starting school, I will be focusing a lot on that, especially towards the beginning of the school year, and it is a pretty important school year for me, so I will be focusing on that, so that might mean not as much content, but I hope you can understand about that. But yeah, 19 viewers. Okay, we've been pre-rambling for 2 minutes. Maybe we should start soon. I may actually take my sweatshirt off because I'm kind of overheating. Okay, sorry. Give me a moment. Okay. Ugh. Here we go. Okay. Sweatshirt off. Alright. So, a couple of, disclaimers or things to note before I actually get into this stuff. There's not going to be much, actually drawing or art I'm going to be doing. Here, let me show you. I used Procreate's animation tool, their feature, to make a sort of slideshow that I can scroll through and still be able to draw on it if I need to do even more visual explanations. So, yeah, there's not going to be, this isn't an art drawing stream. So if you're here for that, I'm sorry. But we will be seeing some older art of some of these characters, so yay. Yay for that. Oh boy, I can't wait. And then also, not everything I say may be the same in the future. There's definitely a chance I will change some things I talk about, and not everything is totally ironed out and perfect and I know everything about everything, because there's some aspects that I really don't know that much about. So I hope you can bear with me in that, and I'm trying my best, I promise. And then what are some other things? Questions. Yes, I will do questions. I'm happy to answer questions. I'm asking Lemon to kind of write them or take note of them so I can answer them at the appropriate times, if that makes sense. So that leads nicely into my next thing. I've sectioned this out into, I guess, the different sort of aspects that I think I have mentioned in the description. So I'm going to be first talking about the magic and the sort of magic that's in this story. And then I'm going to be talking about the world itself and the different locations, and you'll see. So, and then we'll I think most of this will probably be talking about the characters. So I've saved, I guess, quote unquote, the best for last. So we're going to be doing those. Last but definitely not least. So, yeah, I guess I'll just sort of get into it. Oh boy. So, the first thing we have, like I mentioned, is the magic. So here I have this sort of magic ranking sheet, if that makes sense. Because not all types of magic are equal in this world. So yes, there is magic and different sorts of magic, if that makes sense. Like different, depending on what you are, you can do more powerful or more different things, if that makes sense. So here I have this beautiful this beautiful ranking. I'm using air quotes. You can't see that obviously, but I'm using air quotes. Well, I have them on the side. I made all of this yesterday, and I included some little notes that I think I would forget or just thought were funny at the moment. So you can read all my little notes on the side that I might not touch on. But okay, so I guess I'll get to ghosts last, because that's kind of a whole separate thing. So let's start with the average person. I'm going to refer to these beings as people, because that's just easier for me. Most, like, canon, quote-unquote, canon designs are all canine. But actually this is a bit of a tangent, sorry. This is a little bit, I have worked on, I guess, humanizing, like turning them into humans, which I found a lot of fun. So maybe I'll do more of that, because that was actually kind of a blast. But focusing. Okay, you have the average person. They can't do magic. They're just kind of there, living their lives, doing whatever they want, abiding by the laws, preferably. But just living the dream. Okay, and then the magic that's just above that, I guess sort of the weakest of the magic, are nature spirits. So, like nature spirits, like, your nymphs or your druids or whatever, like from the forest. I guess I'll get more into this when I'm talking about my character who is one of these nature spirits, but like lots of forest magic, natural magic, nothing too powerful or overwhelming, stuff like that. And then you got memories, which actually maybe I'll circle back to memories when I'm talking about ghosts. So we're just going to skip over memories real quick. So then we have magi, and the singular of that is magus. Not a super flattering word to say, quite honestly, but you get the idea, like I got it from, the word mage, like, or magic, that sort of thing. So these are people who are like born with the ability to use magic. So the average person they're not able to like learn how to use magic, and they don't have the ability to use magic. But a magi is born with the ability to use magic, and there are like different sorts of magic, which I haven't really gotten into, but I can talk about a bit more with some of the other characters that I do know we're going to be different. Like, you can specialize in different things, basically. And then you have Starborn, which, honestly, it's a cool idea, but I don't know how it works. So, basically, the idea was that they're born from the stars, but it's like, how are they? But I guess that's for future me to figure out. That's for me in the future. But basically, Starborn are the most powerful, and they can kind of, they're super rare though. Balancing it out by making them like super rare, I think I have 4 Starborn characters, and I think those are probably the only ones in the whole world, in this whole world, if that makes sense. So basically, they are the most powerful. And I'm not sure the details of that or anything, but that's basically the main gist of them. Okay, ghosts. Let's talk about ghosts. So basically, how the sort of death afterlife thing works, I think, I came up with this a while ago, so let's see if I can remember. So basically what happens is you die, then you kind of go, you become revived, quote unquote, where you can go to like this afterlife sort of place and hang out with people who have also died and all of that, and then you can eventually get reborn, which whenever you want. So they're called revived, but when they're like in the afterlife, if that makes sense. And some, one of the magi specialties, they're called, I think, drifters, basically. They can sort of shift between the two, like the living and the living plane and like the afterlife, if that makes sense. And they kind of drift between the two and can like bring messages from one to the other. So that's one of the different sorts of magus professions, if you will. I'll get to the necromancy thing. I don't think there is necromancy. You can't, but honestly, I'm not sure what the definition of necromancy is. Is that where you're like controlling a dead person? Because if you can control dead people, no, you can't do that. You can't like bring, well, okay, we'll talk about that when we get to memories. But you don't have to be revived. You can like be a ghost that just wanders the living world, and not many people, like only a few specific magic people can see you or hear you or anything like that. Like spirits, you could be one, but you're gonna probably be pretty lonely unless you find a bunch of other ghosts to hang out with, which, good for you if you're able to do that. Sure. Okay, but finally, let's get to memories. So basically, I should explain some things about... Okay, so a memory is basically when a magus uses a bunch of their magic. Basically, it's buffering. Sorry, it was buffering for a bit. Okay. What's going on? Oh, we're good. No, we're good. Okay, sorry. So, basically, memories. Right. Okay. So I'm going to use Haven as an example. We're going to get to Haven and Echo and their whole thing later on, but I'm just going to use them as an example because they're the best way I can sort of describe it. So basically, there are some super dire situations in which if someone dies, they won't actually be able to like go to the afterlife or be resurrected. Not resurrected, be like reborn in the future, as in like their soul will be killed itself and will not be able to continue further. And so there are some situations in which they can be turned into memories. So this means that they're kind of a lot. Okay, so with memories, what happens is they get killed, but in a way that they won't be able to continue on with their sort of life, afterlife, if that makes sense. And then a magus uses like a huge portion of their magic permanently. They put that into bringing the person who's about to die forever back. Sorry, reincarnation in Silverlace, more likely than you'd think. Very common, yes. And then, what was I saying? Okay, so then, the memory, they become a memory, and they can be seen by the people who knew them when they were alive, but they have to live... Okay, so they have a crystal that they need to live by at all times, or else I guess they'll fade away, basically. And they can be seen by people who knew them in real life, or if they're introduced to someone by people they knew in real life. if that makes sense. I don't know if it does. For example, if like, so Haven, who is a memory, knew this other character, Echo, in real life. They're good friends. So Haven and Echo can see each other. But say someone Haven doesn't know, like, I don't know, let's say Cora, for example, they won't be able to see each other, or Cora won't be able to see Haven or hear Haven, you know? And then, but if Echo introduced Cora to Haven, then they'd be able to see each other, or like be able to interact. Does that make sense? And so then once everybody they knew in real life has died, then they are able to move on to the afterlife and be with them and eventually be, I guess, revived or reincarnated. So that's the memories. They're the most complicated out of all of this. So I'm glad we got that out of the way. And you can't really find their crystal or where they're living unless you're with someone who knew them in real life or you knew them in real life. Yeah. So that's that. That's basically it for the magic, if that makes sense. Magic is pretty simple. You can really do anything, if that makes sense. Cool. Okay. I'm gonna get some water really quick. Okay. Let's continue on to the next topic. Places! Woo! Okay. That's neat. So this is where I'm gonna be like, I don't know what's happening, honestly. So here we get to see an old map I drew over a year ago and then promptly forgot about. I discovered this yesterday because I was like, I thought I drew a map at some point. So I pulled this up, and then quickly yesterday you can see in orange where I sort of added the different spots. So I'll leave this here for you to stare at the map for a little bit and try to understand what this all means. Here, I'll zoom in. Wow. Just stare at that. And there are some spots that I didn't add because I don't know where they are yet. And because I don't want to talk about them yet. So, ta-da. Here, I'll just... Okay, is that enough time to stare at it? Cool beans. Let's move on. What's the first place? Okay, these are two of the more, I guess, not necessarily important, but two of the cities that I actually, I added them because they're the only two I have, like, art of. There's some others that are, like, important, I think. But basically, you have the city Silverlace, which is what, obviously, it's named after. Silverlace is the quote-unquote birthplace of magic. It's where the first people sort of develop magic, and it's kind of, a very ancient and, like, cultural city. It's important because of its magic, if that makes sense. So that's Silverlace. Precipice, I just drew this after a trip where we did go to a place that had these massive canyons. I was like, this would be so cool. So that's basically where one of the main characters, Sylvie, is from. So I was like, you know what? That's neat. I like that. We're going to draw it. So that's some concept of precipice. Basically, people who live up in Big Canyon. Yep. That's precipice. Everyone is like one big family, basically, and no one really knows. Well, no, everyone knows each other, and most of them are probably related. One big family, which is kind of why it was a big deal when Sylvie left. Okay, let's move on from the cities, because I honestly don't have a lot to say. Okay, let's talk about the Celestial Archipelago. Ignore how I misspell it every time I type it out. Archipelago is hard to spell. Please give me a break. So, here we have a small map of it, which I drew a long time ago and forgot about I forgot that Timbris, Loon, and Emblaze even existed. The only one that really matters here is Talos. Okay, I guess I should talk about, the government government is not really that important here. I mean, it is, but it's not like a main part of the story, if that makes sense. I think what I decided is that sort of each city kind of chooses how to govern itself. There's not like one overwhelming monarch or anything like that. It's just like the city has its own government and kind of decides it from there. So until recently, the Celestial Archipelago was all ruled under one monarchy until, I don't know. And when I say like years ago or something, I'm talking about from like the start of the story. Everything I talk about should be like before the start of the story. So keep that in mind. So I don't know, like probably 30, let's say 30 years ago, Talos fought a war for its independence from the rest of the monarchy, Celestial Archipelago. So there was a big war for that, and now they're free, and I'm not sure what their government looks like. It's probably, I don't know that much about government systems, so I don't want to say anything specific right now. So I'm just kind of, there's an army, I know that, so I don't know if it's militaristic or what, so I just gonna like leave that for me later. Again, sorry, there's so much that I don't know. I still am figuring stuff out. But something important to note about the Celestial Archipelago is that they're not normal islands, like in the water. As you can see here, the islands are floating. And thus the name Celestial Archipelago, because it's an archipelago of floating islands in the sky. I just thought that was a really cool idea a long time ago, and Celestial Archipelago seemed like such a neat name for me. And I just thought it would be so cool. Like they have flying ships, as you can see here, and just like clouds, and best sunsets ever, probably. Pretty high elevation, so if you're not used to that, maybe don't visit. But I thought it was a neat idea, and I liked it. So, moving on from these, here are some other places, other important locations. You got Haven's Lighthouse. It's a lighthouse where Haven lives. You've got the Tundra, which is basically this big space. There's a helicopter outside. I'm just gonna wait for that. Okay, it's good. That's good. Basically, big tundra for no one really lives out there except for Aurora and some ghosts. So, and very, very, very lost travelers. So, very, very solitary out there. But, yeah. And then you've got Azurite's Ruins / Last Stand. Not really sure what I should call that. It's basically like, or like the gateway, sort of. It's like this big, magical, important place that has something to do with Azurite, and I've not totally worked it out. But basically, Echo and Jericho are employed there, as you can see. Look at them. Happy workers. No, it's more complicated than that, but okay, moving on. What's this? Oh, the other plane. Okay, so you know how I mentioned there's like a living plane and like an afterlife? There's also this thing called the other plane, which is basically sort of this magic realm that exists in your mind, but also in between the living and the dead plane. Does that make sense? It's like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like, basically, it's like nowhere, and it's in your head, but it's a place your soul, your spirit can be. I don't know how to explain it, but it kind of looks like this image and this image. This one I added because it's kind of old, but I decided this one, it's kind of water, but you stand on it, so this one is kind of not quite correct, if that makes sense. So basically, yeah, it's in your mind, but it's magic, and it's hard to access. Yeah. I think, yeah. So that's that. Okay. Whew, that's it for the places. Now we're getting to the exciting stuff. Woohoo. We're talking about characters. Let's go. The stream is really delayed. I'm watching it and it's okay. So, let's talk about characters. And again, I am going to be taking questions. So let's talk about the protagonists. Yay! So, as you can see here, there are 3 protagonists. We're going to talk about them. So, we're going to start with the girl, the traumatized angel. She needs help. This is Rune. You've probably heard me talk about her quite a bit. I've done this speed paint here of her. Basically, Rune is a soldier on Talos. I think she's a captain in the army. She's good at her job. So basically, yeah, she is traumatized. She had to kill her sister because of werewolves. I've talked about this a lot, so if you're more interested in that, I suggest you check out this speed paint and read the description. I think that is the best answer I can give you. So because of that, she has some trust issues. Or the people who she's gotten close to have had bad things happen to them, so she doesn't like being close with anyone. So that's Rune. She needs therapy and help. I swear, guys, I tried to not give all of my characters insane trauma. The other 2 protags don't have nearly as much angst and edginess as Rune, so let's just move on to them. This is Aurora. She's a starborn, and she talks to ghosts. That's basically her thing. This is her house. It's one of my older videos. And she lives alone on the Tundra. She doesn't really do a lot except talk to ghosts. So she definitely has some social skills to work on. She and Rune don't get along, and Sylvie's always trying to help her and Rune get along, because it annoys Sylvie a lot that they don't. So let's talk about Sylvie, because I love her. This is Sylvie. She's a magus. She lives in the forest with this important prophet guy named Meriden, which my Google Docs sheets constantly want to autocorrect to Meridian, which, no, that's not his name. Anyways, that's for another thing. Basically, she wanted to study magic. Her parents didn't want her to do that, so she ran away from home to go study in the forest. Her parents weren't happy about that. And even less happy when her twin brother also went away to go live elsewhere. So she grew up in Precipice with a big family, and she had, I think, a magical grandma, which kind of told her about, magic and all of that and got her interested in it. And so now she's learning magic. And she's a sweetheart, and I love her very, very much. She's cinnamon roll. Okay, what's next? Oh, okay, now I've separated... Now I have separated the characters into, regional, where they're from and sort of who they're connected to, because there are sort of some different groups about that. Let's see. So we're doing characters from Talos, which is the floating island that Rune's from. So, first character is General Avery. Look at her. She's super cool. So she's the head general on Talos, and she fought in the island's war for independence. She's cool. She's real cool. She's basically like the parental figure to Rune after all of Rune's other parental figures died. So that's fun. She's cool. She's neat. I just wanted, like, you know, some strong, cool, I don't know, general tiger lady. So I made one. And here she is, and she's really neat. Also, I still like this art I made of her, and I think it holds up. Okay, now we talk about Cora. I love Cora. Cora's really cool. I don't know. She's the one design that I've ever had to simplify because it was too complicated. This is her simplified design, by the way. Her old one was painful. Her old one was rough. So this is Cora. She used to be a part of the army, but then she did some stuff and then left the island and is now a wanted fugitive, which is not great. That's not cool. And she's one of the few people who Rune can call her friend. So, you know, I guess win for Cora. She gets to be besties with the traumatized kid. But yeah, Cora's really neat. I like her a lot. She's cool. And then her brother, Cygnus, which I recently redesigned like a few days ago. This is his new design and I'm really happy with it. I love the gold. I think it looks good on him. He's another Starborn. He's Cora's half-brother. And this is the main reason why I don't know how Starborns work. And he specializes in air magic and is basically the reason why Cora can be on the run, because he basically keeps their ship from falling out of the sky. Which, good for you, but also you're helping a criminal. But, you know, it's Cora, so I forgive you. Everyone wants to see the old design. Okay, maybe I'll post it later, because, yeah. I'm not going to do that on stream, but I'll probably post it later. Okay. Next up is Pilot. I don't have a lot to say on Pilot, honestly. She's not very relevant. She's a high-ranking commander in the army. And she commands a fleet of flying ships. I like this art I drew of her here. I think that still looks good. Kind of my first attempt at lineless art. So I have her to thank for that, I guess. So many army people. Yeah, a lot, if not most of the people from Talos were a part of the army because of dire situation. So I think Pilot's probably kind of stupid, but sweet. You know, like Andy Dwyer. You got it. Okay, and then we have Calliope, who's another newer addition. I don't know what this edgy art is. I swear I have no idea what this means. I drew it because I wanted to draw something edgy with butterflies or something, so there it is. Yeah, so it's Calliope. She was like Rune's bestie, but now she's missing and everyone thinks she's dead. Where's Calliope? I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm kind of on the fence, but she might be hearing impaired. I'm not sure about that right now, but I'm considering it for a character. Yeah, I really like this design, honestly. Yeah. Oh, yeah, and by the way, Pilot's name, I think, is probably a nickname. She probably has, you know, a normal name, quote-unquote normal, but, you know, everybody just calls her Pilot, because she can fly ships or something, I don't know. I made Pilot, like, Pilot's actually one of my older OCs, and I just kind of reused her. Okay, now we get on to sort of the next group of characters, and they're the ones, okay, they're basically like Echo's associates, if that makes sense, because I feel like more people know who Echo is. These are the people who are, like, more close with, like, more related to Echo and that sort of thing. So, obviously, first we have Echo, the queen herself, another traumatized, poor baby. I love Echo. Echo and Rune are probably my favorites, but I love them all so much. I could not choose just one favorite, honestly. There are so many of them that I love. Hero, Echo, and Rune. Echo is a magus, but only, like, she used up half of her magic to bring Haven back as a memory. So one of her eyes is not the normal magus eye. Here, let me zoom in here. It's kind of hard to see. But usually magi have this white iris with the darker color around it. And only her left eye is still looking like that. But her other eye has, like, the solid iris. And sometimes it's Azurite's eye. And because she's half possessed, because she sold half her soul to bring Haven back. So, you know, that's dedication to friendship right there. If your best friend doesn't sell their soul to bring you back to life, are they really even your best friend? And she is a guardian at the gateway, which I'm going to call it, you know, the ruins, Azurite's last stand, that whole shebang. She's a guardian there with Jericho. Let's talk about Azurite. I'm not actually going to say that much about her, because as you can see, question mark, it's a secret. But basically, ancient dragon who gave everyone magic. It's kind of what you need to know. She was in my favorite map part that I've ever made. I've only made 2 map parts, but she was featured in my favorite one. So check that out if you want. No pressure or anything. If you feel like it, lots of the real ones. Map part 9 or something. No, I can't remember. Yeah, it's Azu. Yeah, I'm not gonna say a lot because I don't want to. Then we got Haven, who I feel like I've talked about earlier pretty solidly. He's a magus. He has a memory. And he lives in a lighthouse now. Yeah. He and Echo used to train with Meriden. Yeah, not a lot more to say on that. Sorry, I need to sneeze. Excuse me, sorry. Okay. But yeah, it's Haven. I don't know what else to say about him. Again, I am taking questions, which, I don't know, I'll answer at the end or something of my presentation. I love questions about my characters, so don't hold back. This is Jericho, and I want to say I did not design Jericho. I have no idea who did, because she was given to me by an IRL friend, and I think she got the design off of Instagram, and I don't have Instagram, and I don't know who designed her, and I feel really bad about it. So I'm sorry if somehow the person who designed her is watching. I'm sorry, I would love to credit you. But I can't. But basically, Jericho is a forest spirit. So she can do some, forest magic stuff. She's a guardian with Echo and kind of helps and is there to sort of, I guess, interpret what Azurite says when Echo's being possessed. Which, yay, Jericho! Good for you! And yeah, she has a big old crush on Echo. That's cute. And then we talk about Rowan. I don't actually know that much about her. I don't know that much about her, I'm sorry. Yeah, she also likes Echo, so, you got that love triangle going on, but Echo's worried about herself, which, she should be. She needs some help. I love Rowan. I love Rowan's design, but I don't like drawing her because it's hard. Her face is hard to draw. Okay. Oh no. There we go. Okay, now, other good characters. I put good in quotes because that doesn't mean they're necessarily, like, good people or, like, number one best person award. Da-da. Okay, wait, I'm seeing some questions about Jericho. Let's answer some questions about Jericho. Forest Spirit. Okay. Forest Spirit, how does that work? Basically, she's, like... Okay, so like, nymphs and druids from, like, Greek mythology? Think of that. Like, she's kind of... So she's, like, probably, like, a pine spirit of some sort. It comes from the pine trees, I guess. Oh, boy. Lots of questions. Give me a sec. Where? Here we go. Okay, what's a guardian? Someone who is, like, kind of, not, I guess, protecting the ruins, or, like, the area where, I guess, the gateway, and who are, like, sort of servers of Azure, if that makes sense. Are there other spirits, like air, water? Yeah. Yes. Okay. Then, dryads, not druids. Oh, sorry, dryads. My bad, sorry. Okay, wait. Okay. Gateway to where? That's a good question. And I'm not gonna go into, because I don't really know, but also probably spoilers. Okay. Good, quote-unquote good. Like, I guess, anti-antagonist. That makes sense? Yeah. Okay, this is Sir. They're kind of a terrible person, but, what they're trying to do is good. So they're a memory. And it's kind of remarkable by anyone would waste so much of their magic bringing them back to life. But that's another thing. So, Sir is the leader of the rebellion, which is basically the biggest organization standing in the way of the main antagonist. If that makes sense. Yes, I know rebellion is a really cliche way to say it, so I'll probably, like, redo it. I'm pretty sure it's spelled Jericho, not Jericho. Well, yeah, Jericho is the name she came with, and I like it. But, yeah. They had really cruel parents, obviously, because, their parents named them Sentient Reptile, which is really rough. What are they rebelling against? The rebellion is against, like, the big group against the main antagonist's group. We'll get into the antagonist soon. So that's Sir. Lemon, is that your favorite? Okay, this is Aislin. Also did not design her, but she's a member of the rebellion. She has family issues, and she is very close with another rebellion member named Robin. So, yeah. I really like her. I find her a lot of fun. And I love collies, so she's fun to draw. So, yeah. Let's move on to Robin. He is the fluffiest boy. The only one close to rivaling him in fluffiness is Sylvie, but I think, quite honestly, I think Robin beats her out by just a bit. Because, I mean, look at this man. He is the fluffiest. He's nice. He's, like, he balances out Aislin's, like, mean harshness, if that makes sense. Not mean, but, kind of like, I guess, you know what I mean. Hopefully. But yeah, this is Robin. I don't have a lot to say on Robin. Good bean. I like him. He's sweet. So, then we have Meriden, the bane of autocorrect. He's a Starborn and a prophet. So basically how prophecies work is they don't predict what's going to happen. They predict what actions would have the best outcome, if that makes sense. So you have a prophecy, and then you have to, work to fulfill it. Lemon, yes, of course you can draw Sir. I love seeing art of my characters from other people. That's amazing. It's so sweet. Yeah, so Meriden's basically, your resident, I guess, trainer for all of the magical children. Just, he's, if you meet, someone who's, using magic as part of their profession, they were probably trained by this guy. He's very well known for that, and he's good at his job. Okay. At last, the villains. I still need to, work on this a bit, but... Okay, give me a moment to drink water. Okay. Best in terms of what? Best actions for the good world? Yeah. Best, I guess it's more like a utilitarian standpoint. The best outcome for the most amount of people. Okay, and I'm seeing, is Meriden blind? No, this is just when I drew him as a Magus at first before deciding he was actually a Starborn. This is how the Magus eyes look like. I can go back to, Sylvie or something, but their eyes are basically, their pupils are a dark ring of color with white in the middle. And that's how you can tell they're a Magus. But his eyes actually don't look like this. They look like, it's hard to see here, but they're a solid color because he's a Starborn. And he can't be a Starborn and also a Magus, if that makes sense. Okay. Evil. Let's start with the big bad guy. The masked one. What's his name? That's a secret. So, sometimes to abbreviate, I call him TMO. So if you see that, that means I'm talking about him. Cool? So, he's a Starborn, main evil man, and he's the leader of a very dangerous group of people who he's kind of, twisted into helping him, if that makes sense. But, so, I don't know if you know this, but, well, you know, is it ProZD? Is that his name? But, there are these videos that are, a really terrible person but a great dad, an evil villain who's, a really great dad. And I loved the concept of that so much that I was like, you know what? Let's make that my main villain. So he has a kid, and he's a great dad to him. But he's also, a mass murderer. So, what's their goal? So basically, his goal is to sort of become the most powerful. And how he goes about doing that is, getting rid of anyone who could be more powerful than him. So, does that make sense? You can be the most powerful if you get rid of everyone else who is powerful. So, that's not a great mindset. And again, I'll need to work on him more. There's more I need to talk about, and there's a lot more about him that I can't really get into because I want to. Bray's already a Starborn, I know, but, there's more going on with him. Okay, this is his right-hand woman, I guess. Man, This is Dawn. She's a Magus. She can fly. So, And I like her as a villain, because, you know, her design looks very soft and sweet, but she's actually probably the most dangerous person in the organization, aside from the Masked One himself. So, she's the one who carries out most of his dirty work. So, she's very much not a good person. So yeah. Fluffy bestie? Yeah, basically. Yes. Yep. Why does she have wings? I don't know. I felt like it. Is it okay if we make OCs for the story? No, thank you. Please don't make any characters based off of this world or story. I hope you understand. I can talk about this more at the end. I'll get back to that. But the answer is no, thank you. But yeah, evil pink lady, because I really like that. And then this guy, who I recently added, like, I don't know, a month or two ago, and I don't know that much about him. This is literally the only image I have of him. And here. So yeah, that's kind of it. I don't have that much to say about him. Xandarian, what can he do? He sees an infrared vision, which is neat. And he's kind of third in command. Yeah. Cool. Alright, and then, any questions? Alright, let's, okay, I'm gonna check back here. What are the questions? Okay, you said people aren't born with magic, and when they are, they become magi. Okay, so, does that mean people can learn force? No, you can't learn magic unless you were born, like, a magic, or a starborn, or, a nature spirit, or something. Wait, did I just say magic? No, magus. Infrared is seeing heat. Correct. Yeah. Okay. Is it okay if we make OCs? Okay. About the OC thing, please don't make any characters based on this. I really, I have a few reasons for that. One is because, like, I've worked very hard on creating this world, and, like, I guess I know all of the stuff about what's going on. And I'm not exactly comfortable with people sort of taking that and sort of making their own ideas in the world off of that, if that makes sense. And then, yeah, I guess it's just like I've worked on this for so long, and all the characters I do make are very special to me. And I don't know, just like, please, you don't want to like offend anyone by this, but like, yeah, I hope that makes sense. You love my villains so much. Thank you. I love them all. I love all of these characters so much. So X's power is snake vision. Yeah, basically. Yep. You can't really hide from him. Yeah. Are there any more questions that I can answer? Because if not, I'll probably end soon. But I like answering questions about these OCs. So if there's anything you're still curious about that I could answer now, I would love to. I'm gonna drink some water in the meantime. Is there any other character that can fly other than Dawn? Yeah, I mean, so here, what's his face? Cygnus, I recently redesigned to give him some floating wings, so I bet he can fly. Who do you like more, Haven or Echo? Echo, I'm sorry. I love them all, but I like Echo. So can characters just have wings? Like, is it rare? Does it just happen? I mean, the character designs are kind of whatever I feel like, because you got this guy, you got this girl, you got a tiger, you got this rainbow star wolf lady. you got Echo, who has a halo. Like, the designs are just kind of whatever I feel like. It's nothing too specific or, like, unique. I mean, I just try to add things that make them feel more unique, if that makes sense. So, I mean, like, look at them. They have 2 sets of ears, so, yeah, the designs, like, them having wings doesn't necessarily doesn't really change anything about them. So there's only 3 villains that I've made so far. There are definitely more, and it's, like, a whole organization, so I'm gonna have to sort of expand on that. Same with, like, the opposite organization, the Rebellion. So, yeah. How are nature spirits different than, say, earth or water? So I guess nature is, like, more of an all-encompassing, like, earth and water are nature spirits, if that makes sense. But you have, like, forest, and you have, like, water and air and all of that, and they can all be considered nature spirits, if that makes sense. Pilot is your favorite character? Oh, nice. You love irrelevant people. That's true. Pilot, I'm sorry, is incredibly irrelevant. Okay, can you be more detailed with the Magus, the Magus ropes that keep them alive? Yeah, I haven't actually touched on that at all. Sorry about that. Okay, let's scroll back to Haven. And, okay, so basically, most Magi wear a rope somewhere on their body because they're born with magic, but that means that their soul is kind of not as, I guess, quote-unquote, tethered to the living realm. For some Magi, it does work, and that's their intention. For example, Echo doesn't wear a rope because she was trained to be, I guess, a drifter, where she could go between the living plane and the afterlife, and, I guess, the other plane. So if you have a rope on, you can't really get to those other places. But if you aren't wearing a rope, or, like, if you're not trained to not wear a rope or any of that, if you're not trained to be that and you die and your rope is cut, that's kind of one of the main reasons why a memory has to be I guess, created. Does that make sense? Wait, what am I saying? Sorry. Yeah, so that, because the rope gets cut, their soul kind of isn't really connected to anything, so it can't move on, if that makes sense. Are Magi born as prophets or can't be learned? I think that's something that can be learned. Like any other sort of profession, I guess I would call it. So are cats like Avery uncommon, or do you just like drawing the doggos more? I like drawing the doggos more. Okay. Are spirits, are they born that way? Okay, spirits are just like ghosts, or like people who have died who are just sticking around. Basically, that didn't move on to the afterlife. Okay, if you're trained to be a drifter and your rope breaks, what stops you from becoming a memory? Because you've like gone through training to like be able to move between the different planes of existence. That's a good question. I'm trying to think of answers. Give me a moment. Yeah, I think because you're trained to know how to sort of move between the two, you've trained your soul to be, like, I guess more tethered to the world without a rope. Does that make sense? And if a Magi has no friends, do they just go away? Okay, so what happens is once everyone, a memory, I think you're talking about memories, right? Everyone a memory dies, they get to move on to the afterlife as well. Could an average person accidentally move into another plane of existence? An easy way to do that would be to die and go to the afterlife. But, like, by accident without, like, actually physically dying, I don't think so. You'd have to be moved by a stronger power, if that makes sense. I hope that answers your question. Yeah. Okay. Happy to answer more if you have any more. Oh, I'm gonna drink some more water because I've just done a lot of talking very excitedly. Oh my gosh, the stream is really delayed. Okay. Are there any limits to the magic? Good question. I guess there'd have to be. Because obviously you can get rid of a majority of your magic by bringing back a memory. But I think memories can only be brought back by magi. Yeah. It's I guess there's like a limit to what you can do, but by learning more, you can use less of your magic, but be able to do more with it, if that makes sense. Then with the Starborn, I think there's like, it's limitless, basically, which is what makes them so powerful and also dangerous. Is there a species more powerful than the rest? Whoa, what do you mean by species? I like dogs because no. Dragons. Dragons are the most powerful because all of them are born with magic. Since prophecy lets you see what actions benefit most people, can you train yourself to see other possibilities? Probably. But I'm not sure. Wait, so can Magus or Starborn essentially throw average people into another plane? I mean, I guess. Well, but that would use up, like, that would take a lot of energy to do that. I think Starborn wouldn't have a limit on their magic, but they'd have, like, it either way, it takes energy to do that. Dragons seem to have been uber powerful back in their prime. Oh, for sure, yep. So Azrael was born with magic and she gave everyone else magic. Basically. Magic more powerful than the rest. Yeah, I went over, like, the different levels of power back at the beginning, so, yeah, if you need to look back at that, you can replay it when this is over. Could a prophet use their powers for evil? Good question. I mean, I'm sure they could by just doing the opposite of what's supposed to happen. Or, like, what would be the best to happen. So, yeah? Just by seeing, like, oh, this is what's going to be best for everyone. I'm going to do the exact opposite of that. Are there any other dragons? Azrael is considered to be the last dragon. They all kind of vanished. Okay, what happens if a magi never gets a rope? Like, are they born and never know they need a rope to put one on or something? Or is that just how memories are formed? Okay, good question. This is where you can see where I haven't thought everything through. I think there are a few, like, there's a lot, everybody knows about, like, magi and stuff like that, and who knows, like, all of that stuff, so it's not, like, seeing a magus is not uncommon, so there are people around you who would be able to inform them, like, hey, you should, wear a rope. They could accidentally train themselves to be a drifter. Yeah, that could be true, yeah. And then being born a magus is genetic, and I haven't figured out Starborn quite yet, so I don't know about that. Okay, what could a typical magus use their power for? Okay, some examples are people who can use it as a profession, like drifters who can go between different planes of existence and sort of bring messages between them. There are also people called dreamwalkers, which is what Dawn is, so she can go into people's dreams. And usually that's used for, like, therapy or something, but Dawn uses it for malicious intent. There are also people who are just sorcerers who can specialize in, either average, like, I don't know, magic stuff. Like, oh, yeah, I'm good at I can control water. So if Silverlace so if the dragons vanished and our dragon spirit's still around, I don't know. Good question, I don't know. So if Silverlace is a city where magic first happened, why there? That is, I think, the most ancient city, and I think it used to be probably, like, the dragon capital, or something like that. And it's just, like, where, it's always been sort of, an intellectual kind of haven, if you will. Just, like, a place where people came to study, and, yeah, I guess it was first sort of studied and developed in that city, and first future, like, yeah. Just, it was where Azurite decided to, give people the magic, and they're like, okay, cool. And people just stayed there and continued to study it, and it's kind of been taken over by magi who were like, yeah, magic! Oh my gosh. Do spirits from the afterlife ever try to pry into mortal affairs? Like, spirits who are still around? I mean, yeah. Like, not many people can hear them, though. Like, Aurora talks to ghosts, and they kind of tell her the news of the outside world, because she's very isolated in the middle of nowhere. But there's not a lot they can do about it, unless they do manage to find someone who can talk to ghosts. So, hypothetically, yes, they could, but it's not very common at all, because most people can't see or hear them. So are there any limits to the species? Not particularly. I guess just whatever I feel like. Are hyenas a thing? Hyenas would be super cool. Yeah, probably. I think most of the animals would be predatory. I think that would be, like, the most, the thing they have the most overlap. So, yeah. About the size difference, like, here, let's go back to... Obviously, there is a bit of a size difference between Sylvie, who is a fox, and Rune, who is supposed to be a large dog. So after Talos got independence, the other floating islands just go, yeah, we want independence too. I'm not sure. Good question. I haven't really thought about that too much. Probably, I'm assuming the monarchy kind of controlling that area sort of died after all that. Cheetahs and lions. Yeah, that'd be super cool. Cheetahs and lions would be neat. Chihuahua and General Avery, oh my gosh. That would be... That'd be funny. Cool. Well, are non-binary citizens common within the universe? Yep. Everyone is, I guess, like any demographic. Well, not well. Like that's possible when all of your characters are, fantasy creatures living in a fantasy world. But yeah, lots of LGBTQIA plus characters. How did she get a house? Great question. Did she build it herself? I don't know. Probably had something to do with her parents, but I don't know that much about her past or her parents or anything. So, okay, how did the snake guy, Zendarian X, just call him X, got infrared vision? So basically what happened is he, got it, there was an accident, as you can see, and he went blind. But then he was, partially healed by the masked one, and the masked one gave him, the infrared vision, and so then he could kind of assist him in other ways, have a bit more of a unique ability that could benefit him. Do you have any ideas for other characters? I do. I'm not going to discuss that here because potential spoilers, I guess. I have some cool ideas in my head, that's for sure, that maybe I'll explore, that maybe I'll talk about in the future, but for right now I'm going to keep that a secret because I want to be able to give them justice. Did he get LASIK? He did not. That's all the random questions you have? Alright, great. Well, if there are any more, I'm happy to answer them. You can always leave comments for anyone watching after stream, I would love to answer questions in the comments. Where will the story be released? Okay, let me talk about this. I don't actually know if I'm ever going to do anything with the story, if that makes sense, because knowing myself, being able to, spend so much time into making it an actual thing would be really hard for me. But I do love making art of these characters and, drawings and, animatics and all of that. So I don't know. The chances of me making, an animated series or comic about this are very, very, very low. But, yeah. But, I mean, things could change. I guess we'll have to see. Yeah, that's a good question, but right now I don't have any plans to release it anywhere. But I'll try to talk about it more in the future. I'm definitely going to talk about it more in the future. But first I need to iron out the actual storyline. Okay. So boy, since souls are a thing, could you potentially put a soul in an object? Good question. I don't know. I don't know. Great question. I hope not. But, I mean, probably you're able to, but you definitely shouldn't do that. So memories in the other plane, or the real world. They're in the real world. They're basically fancy ghosts with a lot of rules. Toddler running around one of the islands. Yeah. On the islands, the cities are usually closer to the center. Or at least, the neighborhoods. There are some, the docks are obviously by the edge of the islands. But yeah, it's not the most ideal location to raise children, raise a family, but I mean, it's possible. Oh, excuse me. You're just imagining a really peeved grandma who's stuck inside a jar for eternity. Oh my goodness. Oh no. Oh no. Okay. Well, I guess I should probably be ending the stream here. This was great. Honestly, I really, really enjoyed this, and people have been asking for a while, so I'm glad if someone asks, what is Silverlace? I will be able to send them this hour and 15 long video. I don't think I'm going to unlist this one. I think I'm going to keep it up, which is going to be cool. Yeah, so, thanks for joining. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope it wasn't too terrible listening to me ramble about the stuff inside my brain for so long. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed it, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. And I'll see you in the next stream or video, whichever comes first. Yeah. Thanks for coming, and I'll see you next time. Bye.